Definition of growth mindset. A growth mindset is, on multiple levels, simply about enhancing one's knowledge. You know, that simple growth mindset. When we go to school, when we go to college, when we interact with people, our mindset grows. But what becomes more and more apparent as we become global citizens and as we grow into our different societies is that a particular tier in society have a very regimented mindset, which is one of wealth protection. A lot of people talk about growth, but I think we can take a certain mentality from those at the top tier who have already grown their wealth. And it's an element of wealth protection. So where those laymen, normal people on the streets want to make a lot of money, spend it and show people that they've made it. In the top tier in society, they don't need to show anyone they've made it. They want it protected. They employ people to protect their money. They don't want to make 30%, 50% a year on their money. They want consistent growth of 8% to 10%. Double-digit figures if they're happy with. Single-digit figures above 7% is satisfactory. So you imagine this. If you had £1 million today, you would probably spend 100, 200,000 on a deposit for a nice house, 60, 70,000 on a nice car, nice wardrobe, a few holidays. Before you think about it, you've got 450,000 pounds. Then let's hope you pay tax so you don't have to pay. Otherwise, that 450 just goes towards the tax, and now you're back to square one. You have a ultra wealthy person have £1 million. He structures his life at living a £70,000 a year lifestyle. And do you know what? £70,000 a year to you may be a good lifestyle, to some maybe a too average a lifestyle, but they will channel their minds to say, I have £1 million that continually works for me, pays me an income of £70,000. So when you see Mr. Joe Bloggs walking down the street, riding his Boris bicycle, with his three-piece suit, living in a nice flat in Islington, you assume, he's just an average Joe. No, he's got the wealth preservation mindset. He's got a growth mindset. He will always have £1 million, regardless of what happens. He will always have £1 million, and on a good year, he'll make 70,000. On a even better year, he'll make 120,000 on his £1 million, whilst still earning his daily income. That is a very different mentality to what we, as the people who are struggling to make money, have. We get £1 million, we run off to our mortgage broker. Can I give you 100 grand to put down a deposit? He doesn't need to do that. He'll wait that money, 70,000 he'll generate, to put into a deposit. He'll wait another year, living a very humble life, earn another 70,000 to maybe put towards furniture, towards something else. Growth. He's creating growth. So what happens is that £1 million keeps growing. It comes to a point where that £1 million, he no longer needs to live off it because he's still generating income. Maybe he's found himself a job, he's earning 60,000 a year. Now, his £1 million next year is worth 1.1 million. Next year, compound growth, 8-10% is now worth 1.2 million. It keeps growing. So by the time his child is born, his child is of the same mentality. His child, you see where the growth has come. In him preserving his wealth, you've created growth. So his child now doesn't have to worry about private school because the interest on that £1 million pays for the son's school from beginning to end. So there is not this burden that we have. How do I pay the school fees this year? How do I pay the mortgage? He's got money paying for money. This is growth mindset. This is what we need to learn to do. I talked about what's required. What's the cornerstone of growth mindset? Sacrifice. Learning to live £1 million lifestyle, that's a sacrifice. Because he could have £1 million and go and enjoy his life, book the fanciest hotels, restaurants, and be seen as this big, flashy dude, in hope that he makes another £1 million and keeps that lifestyle going. He doesn't want that risk. So there's an element of sacrifice. In the end, his son lives a £1 million lifestyle because they've all sacrificed for the generations to be the ones to enjoy it. We need to learn that. We need to learn legacy. There is an unbreakable pride you have when you know what's come before you. And what's come before you has been stellar and has been strong, respected, and has been groundbreaking, and has been pivotal to what you are doing today. Imagine your dad owned a bank and started it 200 years, your great-granddad started a bank 200 years ago, then your granddad ran it, then your dad ran it, now you're running it. There is a sense of who you are, strength, unwavering, growth mindset that has been built because somebody sacrificed. That grandfather that started the bank was probably living off bread and water. The second one was living off milk and water, or bread and milk. Second one, Coca-Cola. Now you're living champagne. They've sacrificed for the generation to be the champagne generation. Which is why we'll see young kids in the West End driving fancy cars. Their great-grandfather started Campbell's Soup. Their great-grandfather started Walmart. You know, that's growth mindset. And there's a pride in that. And we need to learn that. So for us, we come with this mentality that we need to show and prove. I call it show and prove. Not sure if that's a common term, but I came up with that myself. Maybe I heard it somewhere else, I don't know. We show and prove. If you've got £10 in your pocket, you must show and prove that you're somebody. You must show it, show and prove that you are someone. You make £1 million tomorrow, you've got to show and prove that you're somebody. I call it show and prove. We need to shed the show and prove and start looking at just preserving what we achieve and what we do. And it's a slow process. So examples where that is applied is there's many, right? List any property owning family here, the Portmans, the Edinburghs, the God knows, the Wellingtons, the Westminsters, the whatever you want to call them. That is prime examples.